All right, Couch Coaches, we are back. We have a special edition of Couch Coach Live. Coincidentally, tonight is game 4 of the NBA Finals. So, hey, why not do a pregame show just for the hell of it? And hey, what's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? What's going
Uh,
on?
Nothing much, man. Just getting ready for game 4, man. How was your week?
Oh, it was all right. I ain't even gonna lie, it was all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a couple times I felt like stepping out a couple of seconds earlier than normal, but you know how it is.
That's life. Sometimes,
Right,
it
right.
happens, sometimes
You know, my
you
bad. I
know,
thought I was off. You
yeah,
know
hey,
what I
sometimes
mean?
it be like that. Sometimes, hey, you want to just walk away with a few seconds to go and just, hey,
Right,
it is what it is. But yeah,
right.
man, yeah. And speaking of that, before we get into the NBA finals, I know we also had an NBA story between as far as when we did a show last week.
Hmm.
Doc Rivers. So Doc Rivers
Right.
was hired as the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, and we kind of touched about this on the weekend,
Hmm.
just in talking. But man, just your thoughts on Doc Rivers heading to the city of brotherly love.
I'm not too much of a fan of a a coach just got fired unless he did something personal or something like that, and then he just getting rehired. I don't know why. I'm like, man, he just fired him. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But uh, well, I'll say this. I ain't gonna be
Mhm.
negative because I could. A lot of people say he's overrated. But I'll say this. It looks like to me, Philadelphia has a good team. If Kawhi missed that shot, things may be different. But I'll say this: something is going on where it seems like they may need somebody to bring the team together because they clearly are not trying to get rid of Embiid or Simmons, even though they paid Horton all that money, so they invested in him. And Harris, they invested in him. Doc and Harris got some type of they most likely got some type of chemistry there. Especially they paid Harris a lot of money. They paid him a lot of money. You know what I mean? So it looked like they felt like they might needed a coach that can actually bring the team together in some type of way. And maybe I really believe they was going for Mike D'Antoni, and then Doc Rivers just came out and they was like, you know what, we gonna rock with this. Let's get him now, because we don't get him now, somebody's going to get him.
Yeah. And like he's in
Yeah,
that was reading an article where essentially Doc was like, I was gonna actually take some time off. And
right.
the Philly situation was so intriguing. And and this is an interesting stat. I never knew, like, when Embiid and Simmons play together, they've won 65% of their games. I'm like,
Wow.
wow. I'm like, and then just and they
Mm,
in the irony of it all, they don't get along. So
mm,
that's another thing where it's like you look at Doc. Could he be somewhat of a mediator of this situation where and that's going to be, I think that's going to be really the interesting of the dynamic of those three together, where
mm,
you'll see. And I think that the Clipper thing, just, I don't know, just one thing, it just didn't work out. And it could just be a situation where
right.
he gets a fresh slate and goes somewhere else. He might do the same thing in Philadelphia, but who's to say?
Hmm.
But I mean, I at least he has first round draft picks for the next 6 years. So
And I think that's one of the reasons why he left. I think he
yeah,
was upset. I think he really was
yeah.
upset with that
And we
because I
talked about
believe.
that.
I'm saying,
Mhm.
go ahead. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, because we talked about that. Because I remember I was like, man, I know is kicking himself for getting rid of Shea Gingis Alexander, because it's already bad enough you lose those picks and then you lose
Right.
SGA. You're like,
Right.
oh boy, like, because he's a building piece going forward.
I read something saying that they were really upset because they could have got Michael Porter,
Yeah,
Michael Porter Jr. They
Junior.
could have got him twice, but they was worried about his health.
Oh yeah, because that's right. Because at that time they had the 11th and like the 13th. They had like two, like, because Michael Porter was like 13th, I think. And matter of
Hmm.
fact, yeah, because they could have got him twice. Because matter of fact, that
Right.
was. But yeah, that's something too where a lot of teams really messed up on that Michael Porter thing, and I guess
Right.
that just sucks. Yeah, because we was another one too. We was another one
Mhm.
that could have
Right.
got him, but we got what we got. Wendell Carter.
But but okay, I was sitting here like I was like, okay, he was in when he was in Boston. You know what I'm saying? Danny Ainge did brung something together, but Danny Ainge has a focus of how he want to do things. He really don't want to pay anybody any money, any big money. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to pay big money. He'll pay you money, but he don't want to pay you big money. He usually get rid of you or find a reason to get rid of you. Um, and I think by him having that team and how eventually it kind of got dismantled, I think that might have made Doc upset. So I believe when he went to LA, this is just me talking how I look at things. I believe when he went to LA, they gave him all the power. You know what I mean? And I think it was a lot on him to have that much power. It's a lot of work. And then when it really didn't work, they took some from him. But then I think he in his, I don't know, but I think once they started taking things from him, I think he was 1 foot out the door. Because I didn't even know that Kawhi's contract, like he's out after next year, he can do whatever he wants, him and Paul George. So it really was championship or bust. So since they embarrassed themselves, what did you think? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, bottom line, it was championship or bust. You know what I mean? To me, it's almost like they were saying they didn't want to be in a bubble. I would have thought that they wanted to be in a bubble because they wasn't going to be together that long anyway.
And the funny thing about it, and we talked about what was the irony of it all, when we talked about who was a coach that could handle a bubble situation. Ironically, I stuck my nose out and said, "Well, Doc might be the best coach when it comes to this type of situation." And boy, was I wrong on that one. That's the most coldest take on Couch Coach Live ever in 2020. But yeah, when you sit down and you think about it, I mean, he, as far as when you look at how he was in Boston, then going to LA where he had the control, essentially even bringing in Austin.
Right.
But that's never hit or there. That's just me being tongue in cheek. But but like you saying, then losing the power, and then like you saying, going back to what you were saying, we were saying too, where the two, next year they can walk. Next year, and then you think about it, what if both of them walk? You gave up all that. And to me, it's almost like Doc really, and we look at it, especially now how he landed on his feet, it's almost like he dodged the iceberg from the Titanic. Like he got a life jacket and was able to swim across the Atlantic Ocean and was.
I think he resigned. To me personally, I felt when I watched his body language. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on from the beginning of this bubble, dealing with a pandemic, dealing with social justice, and all those different things coming to surface. And then you having to, do this bubble and everything is new. And it was really horrible in the beginning. The food was messed up. You know what I mean? It just, and then you just can, oh my God. Then, dealing with that and then having to deal with, man, it's the summertime.
Yep.
I really want to be, I really want to be home. I'm used to doing this and blah, blah, blah. Even though the NBA did a really, really good job, but you could just sense like he really wasn't like, I really don't want to be here. Yeah. And then he was even kind of like coming off, I believe he seemed different. Like he really didn't believe they was as good as it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, man, we just need to play harder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he just didn't seem motivated. Right. Like, man, look, they just need to play harder. They need to run. Like, you know what I mean? They not hustling, And
in spots where they should have been, where it shouldn't have been told for them to play aggressive and play hard. Like you're in the fourth quarter and you're letting another lead go bad. You're telling them, well, let's work harder. You should know this is a closeout game. Like, well, it should have been a closeout game, and you're telling them to work harder. That should be something that should just be from the jump. Like, look, let's just stay focused. That's really the message that she really should have been saying.
And in some type of way, that's what I saw him kind of telling them. And he looked a little like not. Oh man, I don't want to be reaching, but to me, like I would sit there and watch the game with my dad. It just seemed like he was like, whatever. You know what I mean? If you're going to call a foul, like, you know what I'm saying? He got it. Let me get up and say something. He almost looked like he had it 1 foot out the door anyway.
Right. But yeah, man. But Doc, hey man, he gets an opportunity in Philly, man. So definitely huge shout out to Doc
Yeah,
getting a job.
congratulations. You know, it's funny. This conversation we're having right now, I
Hmm.
feel because I felt like, man, politics is a mug. Politics. But then, like having this conversation and we dissecting the situation, I'm
Yeah.
happy for him.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm happy for him now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like these type of guys. He's like I call him he's like the Andy Reid where you get fired on a Monday, you get a job by Friday. So
Right.
definitely huge shout out to. I always say if you're good if that happens to you where you get fired one the first beginning of the week and then you get hired the next. Andy
Has
Reid.
Mike D'Antoni been hired anywhere yet?
No, not yet. But I don't
Can
know.
he?
I think that's just a situation where it's everything. I don't know. It's everything at piece itself together. Like the coaching carousel is just so weird. Like that's all of it is really the coaching carousel. And then a guy like a Doc getting there. That's was like whoa. Like he's on the carousel too. Oh, we got to get him immediately. Like Elton Brand was like, come on.
Right. Because when you really look at the dynamic of Mike D'Antoni, I don't think it would have worked. Well, not the way he done
Yeah.
things. Joel Embiid would have been his name, my knees.
Yeah.
you know,
But yeah, I'm intrigued with what Doc's gonna do with those guys.
right?
So
Me too.
yeah, man. So we're less than 50 minutes away from Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Well, we have the Miami Heat and the LA Lakers, and Game 3, which was a surprising win by the Miami. Well, a surprising win, but a win by the Miami Heat, 115-104. Jimmy Butler, a triple double, 40, 11, and
No threes.
13. Yeah, one that, and then obviously the Lakers who had a 2-0 lead, lost on Sunday. Now the series is 2-1. We're headed to game 4. What are your thoughts on game 3 before we proceed to game 4?
For me, you know, first off, I was hoping McGee started. I wanted them to go back to their regular format. I understand you had to start Howard based upon against the Nuggets, but I wanted them to start McGee just to, even if it's like 5 minutes in the first quarter, just because that has been the flow the whole year. You know what I mean? And he run the floor a little bit better than Howard. That's just my take. I've been watching every Laker game since the beginning of the season. And then, they looked flat. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be honest with you. Like LeBron is like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
AD's worse. Anthony Davis worse. Like
Yeah.
for real. Like you talk about not consistent. Okay, you got them fouls, but can you find a different way to get into the game?
Yep.
Like you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like okay, cool. Then let's do this. Let's do that. Like you can. I know I shouldn't have said it on air. We said it off air, but something was wrong, and somebody needed to have a conversation because they didn't seem like they were together much. It was too much talking. Every time somebody did something, they had to have a conversation, which is okay, but it was just not really there's what they usually do. They wasn't fluent. You could just sense something wrong. So that walking off the court, I don't even think it had anything to do with the loss. I think it had to do with something personal that's going on between them. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and I think everybody made a big deal of it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to me, I guess I look at it from such a different perspective where it's like, hey, it's probably just frustration. Like, man, this should have been a game that we should have won.
Right.
Damn, we got to be here
And
with the
nothing
Friday. Like,
and
damn,
nothing worked out. Nothing worked. Every
right?
time they would try this or they would try that. Like I felt like even though he was in foul trouble, they would try to go back to him and to AD. And I'm like, man, just let it go. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
times they could have took the game over, they would go back to him. And I'm like, man, they're whatever defense that they were necessarily doing, they were like, no, your AD is not going to do it for us. You know what I'm saying? And I'd say this too, even though Butler got a triple double, 40 points, triple double, and they still won by 11. So for me, I'm like, I'll take that triple double. You know what I'm saying? Because if some of them guys would have knocked down their shots, because a lot of it came from the foul line. He didn't shoot a 3-pointer. You know what I mean? But some of those Lakers knocked down some of them open shots. KCP, Danny Green making shots. I wouldn't be like, oh man. So I'm a little happy about that. You know what I mean? But and then I didn't know much about Butler, but I know Butler got heart. But by that happening, you get to hear his story, and I'm like, that's just to hear that somebody didn't get drafted and then work so hard and be where he's at right now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, why did he get drafted? I mean,
he got drafted.
Yeah, he got drafted last though. He got drafted
in the
last
first round.
in the first round. Yeah. But still, you know what I mean? And I'm like, they kind of he was like a nobody, and he made his way up. And I was always looking at him like, man, he got a dog in him. Like I've always felt that way with him. You know what I mean? So, but then they have to change the narrative and make him like the anti-LeBron. Since we ain't got Kawhi, we gonna make it Butler. You know what I mean?
And in theory, it's funny. And I think about it, I look at back like Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler essentially, when he first came out, he was more like a perimeter defender. Now, like to see him now, like becoming like the triple double in NBA Finals, a 40-point triple double, all BF that. And the funny thing about it is, especially as a Bulls fan, and it's definitely the name drop our guy Rome. Like he said something the other day, was like, I feel like I feel like Cuba Gooding and what was it? And shoot, but the air punching. But yeah, Boys in the Hood. I feel like air punching every time I see Jimmy Butler doing something, doing his thing. You know how like when Cuba Gooding was air punching the air punching, right? And it's funny because this is kind of how we envisioned Jimmy was gonna be when we figured not the 40-point triple double, but kind of
with that type of style.
Right, the one that being like not scared of LeBron, because remember we had dogs on our team in Chicago where he was one of the guys, and like him, Joe Kim, D Rose, all those guys, and I look at that and it's like, God, just imagine how we still could have continued with that, and even though we wouldn't have had D Wade or Rondo, but we still, just the fact that we got rid of him, in that kind of manner, and it does make you think like, damn.
Did he want to leave because the coach was gone?
Well, no. I think that was management. I don't think he necessarily. I don't think necessarily. I think it might have been a combination of both, but more so, I think management, because because he was a free agent last year, so then I don't think they wanted to pay him a long-term deal in 2019. So that's essentially why they got rid of him kind of early before they got rid of him for nothing. So essentially kind of, almost like they didn't want to be like when Cleveland or, Cleveland situation with LeBron in 2010. So they wanted to kind of get something for him while you still can. So yeah, man, and then this year it's a trip, man. But yeah, man, that's
because
Jimmy.
That's strange. Because I've always looked the way he played, I've always seen him that way. You know what I mean? I've always had a feeling and always seen that he could play that way. But it seemed like when you start hearing these NBA guys talk, when you start off as a role player, you got to do things a certain way, unless you playing for a coach that'll let you loose a little bit if it's within the system. You know what I'm saying? So I've always felt like he was able to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just seemed like he's trying to find himself, the right situation.
And this is the best fit. Like I always say with him, this is probably the best collection because he's around guys that are similar to him as far as that has a chip on his shoulder. I look at like Tyler Hero, even though Tyler Hero is a lottery pick, but he was still in a star-studded class with like Zion Williamson, that class 2018, where they, he was kind of like the forgotten kid, even though he's still a one and done and still was a lottery pick. Bam was another one. He was another one, like a Kentucky guy that was kind of like lost in the shadows. We always copping those one and done. He kind of gets in the shuffle. You look at that, like Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn. So he got a bunch of guys that like him, like the dogs. Versus when he was in Minnesota, where he was with guys who I like Karl Anthony Towns, and I do like Andrew Wiggins, but they aren't cut like him. And then we look at Philly, where they weren't really cut. When you look at Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, where it's like he can come in the situation and these guys can feed off of him versus where he had to kind of come in there and kind of become, it would just been a kind of convoluted where management might look at, like, you think about it, situations. Minnesota probably looked at Karl-Anthony Towns in a higher. Well, obviously they did because they re-upped him while Jimmy was there, so that lets you know like that. And then Philly situation. So yeah, I mean,
Do you think
this
the
is a
Philly
perfect spot for
situation?
him.
You think the Philly situation was more the coach than the team?
I mean, I think it's just more so. I mean, I think it worked out for the time being for what it was. I mean, because like this team, like you said earlier, if Kawhi didn't hit that lucky miraculous shot,
right,
we this game they going to the
I
East
remember
Finals.
Right, I remember him saying that Philly really didn't do anything different. I remember him saying all they did was really dribble the ball up slow. They didn't have. It's like on some type of way you should have known the coach was gonna get fired eventually. Like, you know what I mean? But like I said, I watched every Laker game, and the Mavericks. I was nervous about the Mavericks at first, but then I said, "Oh no, they know how to beat them." Every team that I'll be like, "Oh," but then I was like, "Oh, they know how to beat them." You know what I'm saying? Because the next time they play them, how they play them, it was the heat, bro. Like it was just always like a bloody boxing match. Like boom, boom, boom. Okay, I got you. Well, it was just always back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, and that's what happens when you have somebody like Butler that can drive in, get to the foul line. But then you got these shooters that come out of nowhere. You in their face, you jumping, and they just knocking it down. And then you got Dragic. I think that said his name right? He got a slick way. He's not afraid to drive on you. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to lay up on you. You know what I mean? Like he gonna go to the hole. And I was just sitting there watching, like, man, I feel like I'm watching a gritty Warriors team.
At least you got to worry about him.
Right. I was sitting there like, man, because when you younger, you playing basketball, you remember them shooters, man, they couldn't play defense, they couldn't do this. But goodness gracious, they could shoot a 3-pointer from half court. Goodness gracious, they could shoot. Every time they shoot, it'd be high art. You know what I mean? Right in your face. And you're like, damn, that makes you have to work harder. You know what I mean? To catch up. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's interesting. It's really good. It's just really good. That last game was a little. Yeah, I'm happy I didn't watch it at my relative's house, but I was by myself. But because it had been a little bit emotional, but yeah, man.
Yep. So now we head to game 4. So what are the storylines are you looking for in this particular game, in game 4?
Like I said, it started off with the second units. You know what I mean? I had something I was going to put together, but then I watched Isaiah Thomas and I watched a few people talk, and they said, the storyline seemed like everybody keep talking about is Butler and LeBron, and Butler saying LeBron's always got the best of him, and LeBron saying trouble, and he said, no, you in trouble. So Isaiah Thomas had these words to say. He said it ain't really about LeBron coming up, it's the teammates stepping up. Right. You know what I mean? And what I thought about was, and I throw it to you, you always help me, when Michael Jordan left, and I remember that infamous him getting in his Corvette, mad at his team because of the Pistons. It seemed like you always have to do that sometimes to ignite your team. You know what I mean? I remember Kobe and the shots, a lot of shots. You know what I mean? I remember these remarks that a lot of these guys say when they have a loss or something like that, like, almost like your role players and everybody, your team's got to get you up. If it can't be always you, to be a championship team, everybody's got to step up. You know what I mean? Everybody's got to find a way. So I'm really going to be interested to see what the rest of the players are going to do. I think LeBron going to be LeBron. I want to see AD step up and just go, okay, and just go off and see if he do. You know what I mean? I want the team itself. I just don't want LeBron to come. I want the team itself, because it's a waste of time to always see that one player. Like what made the Bulls special is when you saw Paxson and Kerr hit those shots. Luke Longley, okay, Longley, you know what I'm saying? Rodman hit a jumper and things of that nature. So I'm hoping that they all step up, and I won't see basketball. I don't want to see one-on-one. I want ball movement. I want picks. You know what I'm saying? I want alley oops. I want to see team. You know what I mean? I want to see team ball. So I'm hoping to see that. That's what I'm hoping to see. And I think that's the storyline. I want to see basically the team step up. You know what I mean? Because if the team would have stepped up last game, if certain people would have hit their shots, they would have won the game. You know what I mean? They only won by 11.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this would have been an elimination game by far.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah. Now, one of my biggest story headlines is Bam, the return of Bam. I want to see what he's going to do.
Playing?
Up until 5:30 this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, there's been reports that he's going to be there, which I'm going on the assumption that those are still accurate as a 5:50 something this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I look at that coupled with just the fact of, man, are we gonna still get effort from the Heat reserves again? Like, as far as, like, we're gonna have a performance like Kelly Olynyk had 17 points coming off the bench, and you look at those type of situations. You look at him, as far as we talked about Kendrick Nunn a little earlier, Duncan Robinson, what they're gonna do, and then also what Tyler Hero is gonna do, and I mean, it's gonna be very interesting. And I just think, then I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I think this is I think this is gonna be the time where the Lakers, I think, going waking up. Where I think now this is like the time where it's to a point where they're like, look, we got to be here up until Friday now. We could have been going home tomorrow. Let's get the hell out of here. Like, it's to a point where, because now they have to have that mentality, because it's going to be really, really tough when you sit down and you think about it. If the series is tied, you got game 5 on Friday, then game 6 on Sunday, and you're like because now you're at the end of the road, and it's just like,
right.
We cannot be another.
Today's Bronny's birthday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 16, sweet 16. Wow, that's crazy.
And I don't think he's, I think he's upset I think he's a little bothered by that. He missed his wife. His wife is with him, but I think that's bothering him. But hey, I feel you though, B.
Light one up for Bronny.
Right. You see that meme where he's shaking Jimmy Butler's hand?
Right.
Yeah. He said,
"Yo, keep that dude away. Keep that dude in the bubble." I can't say the N word, but I can't say the connotation of the meme. But
right.
Yeah, man. He said, "Yo, keep that in a bubble."
Right.
I was so weak.
Can you hear that conversation? Hey, me and you gonna have to have that conversation, right? You know what I mean?
That's gotta be rough. Cause, dude, anytime you be like, "Yo, wait till your daddy get home," oh hell no. Yo, you remember me?
Let me buy. Hold on. I know what to do. Let me go. Hey, can I get a case of Don Pinot Noir? Send a case of wine to him, bro. Anyway,
I'd be like, ugh. But yeah, I think those will be the two storylines for me heading into it. I just think it's just a situation where I think the Lakers know, like, hey, and I think they've always kind of had these kind of moments, and especially looking at just all the series where it's like, all right, that's time to just hunker down and just get it done. And I think this is gonna be the game where it's like, all right, let's just take care of business tonight, and then Friday, let Friday be what it is. But tonight, let's take care of business.
This game usually from what I see, this game will be the one to really put the knife inside of them. Yeah. And then that elimination game, just close it out. You know what I mean? So this is the one. You know what I mean? This is the one. But you know what's weird? I'm hoping that we pull it out, because we were just talking about Doc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling you about Rondo. So Rondo's stock is up. Man, that would break my heart if he end up leaving and go play for Philly to help Doc. And you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think Rondo should start. Oh, I feel No, watching professional basketball now, a guy like him really should come off the bench because he's free. The second unit, if you watch any basketball, the second unit seem like they're free and they can kind of work it out however they want to do. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting out in my mind. That's what I'm thinking because right now he is so important to this team. Like even him, he didn't make no 3-pointers last game. He been making 3-pointers every game. He did not make one last game. You know what I mean? Oh,
Rondo's huge. I think he's
right,
I call him one of the glue guys of this team. He's a glue guy.
right. I think Frank Vogel is smart because he's really controlling his minutes. Rondo want to play, so he takes him out of the game a lot. You know what I'm saying? When Rondo probably don't want to come out, but he got to understand. Just focus on your minutes because your minutes you playing because Rondo gets hurt a lot, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a scrappy dude. And I think that's one of his downfalls is because he has a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? Like, give you an example. Last year, LeBron slips playing Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
They take him out. Rondo comes in, do the pick and roll with big what's the dude? The center from the Clippers?
Zubac.
They doing pick and rolls, and he killing them. Just about, you know what I'm saying? Killing. He closed it out. But guess what? Next day, Rondo breaks his pinky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you got LeBron and you got Rondo out, and they end up losing games. Kyle Kuzma was doing 35, 40 points a game, but they was losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was those games that you could look at they won those stretch of games, which I remember that because that was the month that they were supposed to win a lot of games. And then it kind of helped them be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But LeBron got hurt and Rondo got hurt. Rondo was out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So that's what in my mind, I'm like, okay, what I was thinking is real. So I'm hoping we get this one, but I don't want him to go nowhere. I want him to be there at least 2 more years.
Right.
I don't want him to go nowhere, B.
Yeah, who knows? He might go across the hall. Depends who
if they give him everything he wants, I think it seemed like that's what they're doing. That's why Kawhi went. They got everything he wanted. That's the thing. I believe the owner respected Kawhi more than he respected his coach.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that's another thing where what sucks about it all. The coaches are always going to be the fall guy because essentially they're cheaper. So whatever's the cheapest commodity, they're gonna get rid of. Like, what's the most cost-effective way? Because you can't get rid of Kawhi at this point. I mean, you can, but you ain't gonna get nothing back for it. You're not gonna get a return of investment, quote unquote.
Right.
So and what's gonna happen? And then Ballmer, he'll get a coach cheaper and get just about the same production. That's it. Yeah.
Who you think he gonna get?
I think he needs Ty Lue. I mean, I understand like the Darvin Ham interview, but I think you have somebody in house. I think this is you're not rebuilding, so I don't think there's no need to bring somebody in new. Because I think this still is a situation that can be fixable, and I think everybody likes Ty Lue. So I would hire Ty Lue.
Gave it to him yet.
And that's why I don't get because I'm thinking it's more so I'm just being devil's advocate where I don't know if it's just a situation where they're doing their due diligence because they just interviewed Darvin Ham, which I get it, but I kind of don't. So you would think, especially something like an in-house hire like that, you just do it. Because I mean it's been about a week now.
So
since he's been gone, I mean, to me, like you said, if Ty Lue was a no-brainer, then he should have been hired by now.
Right. Do you think that the way it ended in Cleveland and things of that nature? No, I'm just being honest. No, come on, man. This Couch Coach Live.
Yeah, but I mean,
the way it ended in Cleveland and the Lakers, huh?
That situation was going to end anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. It was bad though.
I mean, it's not bad, but but I don't know. I mean, but I think even with the Clipper situation, I think he'll be fine there. Where it's almost it's in the irony of it all. It kind of be reminiscent of the Cleveland situation, where David Blatt was pretty much like the guy they got rid of, and Ty Lue came in and stepped up and won the championship. I think he could potentially have that same type of impact in Cleveland, but not in Cleveland, but with the Clippers.
Yeah, I do too.
So that's why I like it. To me, if I'm Ballmer, like you said, I would. What he did, I think, even in that one single championship with Cleveland, to me, I look at that, especially with Cleveland having a mid-season adjustment. And I'm not saying like if Blatt would have been there, they would have won, which I highly unlikely think that would have potentially happened. But I think him having that where he was there, as an assistant for a lame duck coach, quote unquote, like how Doc really is now, because Doc is gone. But I would, like you're saying, I don't know why Ballmer hasn't pulled the trigger on that. I think he maybe just a situation where he just wanna. I guess he just looking at it from a standpoint. Well, let me just see my other options. Let's just see.
Well, let's see it. Let's wait to the end of the season and let's see. He probably gonna hire Jason Kidd or some damn body. Just because that's the problem, man. They be competing. Like, man, just make a better team and you know what I'm saying, and get there. Like, don't stop trying to compete with the Lakers or LeBron or this and that, man. Just get you a good team. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, like that Phoenix gonna be a scary team next season, man. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I was sitting here today thinking today. It's like, how come he hadn't hired Ty Lue yet? Everybody keeps saying Ty Lue, but ain't nobody hired Ty Lue yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would just get him. I mean, at this point, especially, I think he would fit definitely perfectly with the Clippers because he's in house. Everybody knows him. I think he can get those guys to play together potentially.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And with this team, you really gotta keep it kind of in house because now it's like unless Kawhi and PG is like I want somebody like almost i.e. like a Steve Nash where those two both, because honestly you gotta appease them because if you don't get the right coach, you're gonna be left handed a bag without Kawhi or PG or no first round draft picks into 2027. Your first round draft pick part in the 6th grade at this point. And I'm talking about
it's a good one.
Like, right. So your first round draft pick, next time you'll draft a first round pick, that kid is in the 6th grade currently. So they have to get a coach. They gotta really say, hey, who's the coach that you want long term? Because I want you here for at least 4 years. But if I don't want to lose you guys next year and don't have nothing to show for it. I can say
I think that's isn't that what that's what Ty Lue wanted? Because I think the Lakers gave Vogel a 2-year or 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 2. I think it's 2. Yeah. And then but they offered Ty Lue that deal too. It's either 2 or 3. And I think Ty Lue was like, what? You know what I mean? Man. And he was like, what? And I think he wanted a 4 or 5 or something like that. You know?
Probably stability. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, why not? Because he kind of in the same situation like it was in Cleveland. If you do it like that, as far as having a lease like that. But a part of me, I would, if I'm him, I would take that Clipper job. If I'm Ballmer, I would get him. I mean, at this point, because it's
you don't think he should get Sam Cassell a shot? Because in the bubble they let Cassell
one of
a little bit.
So one of the assistants. I'm just looking at more just the fact that he was just the lead assistant. So I think it's just more so low hanging fruit more so than anything. But anybody on that staff, I think should be their next head coach. I don't think they should get a hire outside of that of that. And they have to make a decision because who knows, Doc might try to bring some people with him.
Right.
I know he bring your boy Alvin Gentry. I think he's gonna bring Alvin Gentry. But I'm saying, Mhm.
You think they're gonna trade Paul George? I heard something about New York.
What are you gonna get at this point? I mean, he gonna have to play a nice little decent stretch, at least a good 20 to 25 games next season, where he at least regular season P, because we know he ain't playoff P. The way he played in against Denver, what you really gonna get? I mean, you're gonna get somebody for him, but if you want bottom dollar investment, like you want a return on your investment, you have to let him play about 25 games and get some of this playoff P rust off.
How much long you think he's gonna be in the league if he play like that?
You know what's a weird thing? I mean, he'll be in the league. I mean, it's just more so if he ain't gonna be the playoff P or whatever people call him no more. I mean, if he's at a point where he accepts a role where he's like a role player, I mean, he'll always have a spot. He'll always have a home in it.
Right now, who would you rather have?
Ooh.
Paul George, Carmelo Anthony.
I still would take. I don't know, because the Melo situation is, at least with him, he'll bucket. I know for a fact. Like, I'm gonna get something out of him. I would still lean towards Paul George. I still see the potential in him. I kind of want to give him a pass this year. Because a lot of it, I really want to give a lot of guys pass, but then a part of me is like, because we talked about the bump situation, but a part of me is like, but there's always going to be some type of circumstance that we can give somebody a pass. So I hate saying, well, I should give him a pass. No, because there could be a situation that happen next year where they may not be in a bubble, but something could be happening in Los Angeles that could be affecting, or anything that could happen in the landscape of the league.
They end up being exactly who I thought they were. And let me tell you something. Truth be told, Doc Rivers knew it. That's why he always let them not practice, and everything came out. That's what I'm saying. Whatever happens in the dark always come out.
Yeah, big time.
You know what I'm saying? And like, why did you get Reggie Jackson? Didn't use him? Why? You know what I'm saying? They all the what was they doing? What they call it? Load management. They've been doing that. Oh my God, they always got some type of saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like, it was coming out. It was coming out that some of the other players was getting upset that we got to practice, we got to do this, we got to do that, and they're not doing it. Like, y'all, it's like they all really thought that they were just gonna come in. It was such an illusion, because they really thought when they came in that they was going to win a championship. But then somebody had to remind me, bro, if Kawhi didn't make that shot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If he didn't make that shot, and you know what I mean, he wouldn't have had that type of power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you think about it, just everything fell into place for Toronto, and the thing is, it's just everything fell into their lap. I mean, because essentially, you look at the NBA Finals with KD injury, which he shouldn't have been in there anyway, but obviously, since they were trailing, right, he played. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing and then we looked at it from a Ross standpoint. Yeah, this team it has the talent, because I look at it from a talent standpoint, and they severely overachieved. And because we looked at both of those, and I even talk about playoff P in a positive way, where 2 years ago, during that 2 years ago, he was a runner-up. Not a finalist, but he was in the MVP conversation. These years all kind of coming together now. I feel it now.
Was it 18?
2018, yeah, 2018. I had to think about it, because all these years
OKC, now, right?
Yeah, all these years running together, and I'm like, oh yeah.
See, and you forget. That's right. You forget that.
Right.
He played on OKC. That's what we was talking about a few weeks ago. I was like, before when the bubble hit, I said, bro, after all of this, are we gonna start having conversation about Doc Rivers? About Paul George? I was Russell Westbrook, Mike D'Antoni, You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? You got a lot of these new coaches that's starting to come in here and get these guys in deep into the playoffs and winning championships. When are we gonna start having questions of when they gonna change? You know what I mean? Because it's like some
right.
people just sitting there getting a check. As long as they make the playoffs. Again, then I said the same thing about Utah and Denver, and then look what Denver did. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they
Look what
came
Denver
back.
did. They came back. You know what I mean? They took Michael Porter Jr. to say something like, "Hey, man, we doing the same thing.
Yep,
We
over
gotta,
and over.
you know what I'm saying, over and over
Right.
again. We gotta pass the ball. There's more people, and then look what happened.
What happened?
Like, you know.
Right.
So
That's what happens, man. That's why I tell people like, oh, that's not his place. I'm like, though I think those days are over with when we kind of attribute that same stuff. Because to me, he's not a rookie. Like
yeah,
he was there last year, so this is his second year. So I hate the fact he's young. No, he's been around this team for a whole year, so he know what the hell is going on. Like
that me personally, that rookie shit. When you do the regular season, you in the playoffs. That
yeah,
rookie shit go out the window. We got this
right,
time for us to be professional and be
right.
straight up. You know what I mean?
But this is technically his second year because he was around the team
Right,
last year. So
right.
this is his sophomore, aka
Sophomore,
his redshirt freshman year. So
right,
he's been around. So it ain't like a situation where he just arrived in the bubble and came on this team. No, he's been
right.
around. Like, and that's the thing that kept on killing me. And Paul Pierce, oh, he shouldn't be in his place. Yeah, he should. He
Yeah,
called
he
him
should.
out.
He got
And
it. Yeah.
look what happened.
Hey,
And look what
this,
happened.
this. I don't know. Would you consider him a millennial,
Who? Paul
Michael
Pierce?
Porter Jr.?
I don't think
Well,
so.
well, I
Because I
mean,
think
like
they
that
had
generation, like that generation.
well,
Okay.
because he was
Well, I
born
remember.
in 98, 90 something. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's
Well,
cut
I
off.
know the newer generation,
He's the was it Gen Z?
Generation X.
Yeah, they from 90.
Well, I know the younger generation. They don't play that rookie and this and that. They don't play them type of games no more, man. We in the playoffs. We trying to win. I'm supposed to sit here and keep quiet. I'll give you. Okay, I get another one for you. Do you remember when the Heat played the Mavericks?
Mhm.
It was a timeout, and D Wade was going off on Gary Payton. Do you remember
Oh yeah.
that?
Mhm.
And he was cussing him out. Do you
Yeah.
know why? I'm asking you for real. Do you know why he was going off on him?
Because he
I
can.
need to look. Well, at the time, D Wade was quiet.
Mhm.
Shaq said that they had went out to a club and they let him up and they let Shaq in front of the line and brought him in. He was like, "Man, what D Wade at?" And D Wade was still in line. So D
Yeah.
Wade was just a very quiet person, and it was like D Wade had to because some people just used to losing, bruh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is what it is, and they don't know how to find. They forgot how to find that next level to take them to where you need to be at. And D Wade, he got that. He's always had that fire in him, but he was
Mhm.
going off on him like, man, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, and blah blah. And Gary Payton was trying to say something to him, but he was like, nah, he cut that short. And Gary Payton couldn't say anything because he knew he was telling him the truth. And that's what
Mhm.
you're supposed to do when it's a team sport. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, you should keep
Yeah.
that in house.
And,
Nah.
and plus now the thing is there isn't veterans. Like I mean, your veterans are like 22 years old.
Right.
So the league has really changed because everybody's young. Like your vet is 22 years old. Like
I got one. All right. I got
who
one
would be a
for you.
rookie? Yeah. Mhm.
Your GOAT, Michael
Mhm.
Jordan, said he was a young guy, he had and he said that all the dudes was getting high and getting drunk, where
Mhm.
he wanted to compete. He wanted to win. So he
Right.
had to change the culture. So
Mhm.
if Michael Jordan is saying that when he walked in, of course, and he was a rookie. So
Mhm.
you got to take that same narrative if you're trying to win. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because he
Right.
one of those people when it comes to winning championships or winning and being successful,
Mhm.
he wrote the book for it. So if
Right.
that's the same burden he had, then everybody got to have it. Well, you
Mhm.
should have just waited to the locker room. I've been telling you in the locker room, you're not listening to me. So now I'm gonna let ESPN and all these people talk about it
Mhm.
now. And then they dogged him. He only played like 5 minutes the next game, but it was in the fourth quarter.
But he balled though. But he balled going forward.
Yep,
That's what you gotta do.
big
And
reason.
Yeah, and this league is it's everybody's young. So now it's perfect because you're now young. Like
Mm-hmm.
like Ryan was saying, you're vet 23. Like
Right.
like how you come to a team and your OG is like 23 years old? Like it's crazy. But hey, that's just how the league is. So
Right.
we got 10 minutes left to go before game 4 starts. Prediction: who wins game 4?
I'm giving it to the Lakers.
Yeah, I got the Lakers. I got them 129 to 114. I think I could put 129 on them boys tonight.
I give it 123,
Yeah.
107.
Okay, yeah.
123, 107. Um,
15
I'm not.
point. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my what's the name. I will put it on the show,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna wait till we get off the show to tell you something because last
Mm-hmm.
game, that's what happened. They didn't hit these. It's a certain number each. The first quarter and the second quarter at the half, they need to hit. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't hit those numbers, most likely they lose. And they didn't hit it, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
oh, you know what I mean? It's not looking good, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah, I got the Lakers winning tonight as well. I think they're gonna wrap it up Friday. I'm hoping this does go to a game 7 where we can do a pregame next Tuesday night, but
Mhm.
I doubt it very seriously. This is gonna go to 7 games. Something is dramatically has to happen.
I don't think they should have talked trash. I think they promoting the snare and
Yep.
I don't think they should have did that. I
They
think
woke up a sleeping giant.
yeah, I think that might have because it ain't just him now. It's a lot of other people that's on that squad too, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think they should have. I
Yeah.
don't think they should have done that. I think they should have stepped humble and just kept playing. And I feel a little more confident that they got Bam playing. Bam is not all the way 100%, and I think they played. If he played the way he was playing before, that's gonna clog in the middle. They already out rebound them anyway without him, and then
Right.
that opened it up. That how they won was Jimmy Butler driving in and getting fouled, and I don't know. I know having him there, having him play is what they do, but I don't think I don't know. That might be a okay for the Lakers to win.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting though. But yeah, I think they're gonna wrap it up on Friday night, and we're
Thank
definitely.
God, man. I'm tired of this. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I love doing this on the
Right.
show. I'm like, yo, get this
Yeah,
over with.
I'm tired of NBA Finals too. For real talk,
Yeah.
because it was so crazy. Because if it weren't for the Eagles and the 49ers playing that god awful game, because I watched all of game 4 of the NBA Finals. I mean, I got game 3 because I'm not gonna see Nick Mullins versus Carson Wentz on Sunday Night Football. I was like, nah, I don't want to see that tonight. But that's another thing where it's like that's the only time I was like, all right, at least I got an alternative. But like going forward, no. Like Sunday, no. If there's a game 6 Sunday, I'll maybe turn it on for a few minutes here and there. But if Sunday night it's game
I'm
on,
ready for it to be over with, for real.
yeah, because I'm ready for next season to start. I'm ready for like January. I'm ready for the Bulls.
I'm ready for the move. It's been too many. It's too many moves. Like I really like. I'm thinking to myself. I know Westbrook is not staying with the Rockets, or something. You know what I mean? They got to something. I want to see what these off
season moves.
The moves is going to be about. That's going to be more intriguing. You know what I mean?
Draft. Will Michael Jordan take LaMelo Ball? All kind of stuff. What Minnesota going to do? Like, all of it's going to be very, very interesting. That's why I can't wait till the off season.
You see that the Steelers are going to let almost 5,000 fans come to the game?
Yes, I see that. Hey, Cleveland let 5,000. 6,000.
It's Cleveland.
I know what I'm saying. What I'm talking about. We talking about the states. We talking about the states. Let's talk about the states.
If there's ever some people that was no, I'm not gonna say that.
But
I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, a lot of it too. Like it's weird. Like how and I think it's gonna increase as the weeks progress.
What are they doing? Putting plexiglass in every seat?
No, it's regular seating. It's just everybody just
I know.
scattered. Which, yeah, because you look at like I think because I know the Chiefs have fans. Who else has fans? Jacksonville. I think all the Florida teams, pretty much the South.
And they
That's it. I mean, they just call it keep it a buck. And now you see like northern states kind of when we talked about Pittsburgh and then Midwest and Ohio, which Ohio they gonna let it fly. Ohio's gonna let it fly. So I mean, all they gotta do is look at a coverage map of who runs who states as far as as far as look at the polling numbers of who voted for who and as far as whatever state is green and not green, but one is blue and one is red. You know which one.
They do know it's still something going around, people catching and getting sick.
Oh, absolutely, they know, but hey,
football that important.
Capitalism, these people I bet they sell it out because it's funny. Like they don't sell it, they're gonna pack it out. They're not pack it out, but as far as the availability that's there, they're gonna feel that availability, no doubt. And your guess is good as mine. It's just more so it's capitalism. It's all about the money. That's all. They don't care. And trust me, we know how this, and especially with this weekend that has transpired and the aftermath of what happened this weekend.
Right.
Obviously, and then it's the carelessness is gonna be at an all-time high. So you look at it from that standpoint.
We know DL had caught it. He gave some information, like some personal, different. But Ryan Davis caught it too. The comedian, Ryan Davis is.
Yep.
And he said he had got it. He'd been struggling being sick since Monday. So this was Wednesday. And he said she said, so when you're usually sick, you go to sleep. So he said, I went to sleep, and he said, when I woke up, I was worse. So he said, like, it's hard for him to breathe now. So he was like, you can't even do what you usually do with this. So, I believe him. I don't want to find out. You know what I mean? And you know what happened? He was on tour, and he said, I had to push all my dates back to like December. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do what I need to do. That's cool.
Like I said, I got what I told you. And what's going to happen now with the owner of New Jersey Generals? What happened to him? I ain't saying the name out loud, but and you see how he just bounced back like that, and that's what people are gonna think that's gonna happen to them, and it's gonna continue to give people a false sense of security.
He did not bounce back like that. Did you see him try to button up and he would stumble, and then he started? You could see him breathing like this.
Yeah, because they had a situation where I noticed when they did a video, one of the videos they edited. Because he kept on coughing and they edited it. You can tell like it was edited because it's like you can hear like the choppiness in the audio. But like I said, that's the message that the owner of the New Jersey Generals of the USFL were trying to convey was essentially a situation where he made it seem as if like, okay, whoop-de-doo, I got this. Yeah, he's creating that illusion. That illusion. Right. We all know for someone of his age and for the core morbidities that he has, if you are in his predicament, you're gonna struggle. It's gonna be a battle.
And a lot of people that I saw that did have it, and it's how people kind of treat them too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to catch it. So you be doing little things. I'm like, damn, it's almost like a person had leprosy. You know what I'm saying? like for real. Like, yeah. And then you talk to that person and you find out that people at their job had it, and and then how people acted at their job towards them and this. And I'm like, I mean, you know what? I'm not even gonna be negative. I see what the owner was doing. And to give motivation to the people that followed that owner, and I get it, but you can't let it overpower you. I get it, but at the same time, man,
Don't get it, and don't put yourself in predicaments where you
to
where you
get, yeah,
right. Don't
yeah,
right, yeah, and there's yeah, that's good to have that type of attitude,
right,
but in the same token, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound for the cure.
right,
So that messaging alone is really, really, really just misconstrued
immature,
and it's immature. And
yeah,
that's the real crux of it all, where yeah, you look at, and like, even when we, when it all first started, we looked at guys like Rudy Gobert. Oh, he has it. This and the
yeah.
third. But
And
we
that's the same energy. That's the
right,
same energy right there. That's
but
this. I'm gonna tell you something,
right,
and I'm
right,
happy you said
right.
that because people forgot. That's the same energy. That is the same energy. You know what I mean?
Well, it's on 1,000. And then the sad
Right.
thing about it is everyone within that circle group of that particular office of the owner of the New Jersey Generals of USFL, there are another ones where they're careless in their actions as well. So it's just one of those things where it's just like it's irresponsible. That's all I can really say at this point
Right.
without name dropping. But yeah,
Right. You know what I mean? I feel you. You know what I mean? I feel you. You know what I'm saying? And but that's exactly what people do that of leadership. They always make it seem like it ain't as worse than what it is. But you
mm-hmm.
know what? Honestly, uh, you gotta. It's really important to more or less talk about the prevention part. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And like I said, everybody's so comfortable, but at the same time, I'm still seeing people do what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. And I'm just like, stay away from me.
Like I think I was in a store and I forgot to put mine on, and that's when that owner it just happened, and I heard this lady, you know what I mean, talking on the phone, and she was rude, just rude. You know what I mean? And because I don't know what's wrong with these people, and I was just like, oh, I got to put my mask on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, I get it. And I usually do it anyway. You know what I mean? Even if I have to. Oh, when we get off, remind me that when we get off the show, I got something to talk to you about. Dealing
Yeah.
with some math.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
But yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Um,
yep.
go ahead.
So we'll put a bow in this week's Couch Coach Live. We want you guys to
Right.
enjoy Game 4 of the NBA Finals.
Right.
And guys, we'll be back next week, man. It's been a special Couch Coach Live Game 4 NBA Final preview, man. We'll catch you guys